Can you tell us a little bit more about Charlie?
Yes, Charlie was 17. He was born in Guildford. I named him Cheeks when he was 3 weeks old. He just had that cheeky smile, and actually it was a perfect name for him because he was so cheeky, exceptionally funny and witty, very loyal. Had a really wide circle of friends. In fact, since Charlie's died, we didn't realise how many friends he had. And what's been really nice, when you hear about Charlie, is people say we just clicked. A beautiful, beautiful little boy. Charlie had gone with two friends to a party and he got picked up halfway down our cul-de-sac. And I watched him get in the car and shut the door. But yeah, that's my last image of Charlie walking. It was the last conversation we had with him. He was looking for a particular t-shirt. We had loads of euros on the side because he was off to Zante with his friends. He'd just bought loads of clothes. His suitcase was on the lounge floor.
What happened that night? How did it start for you?
There's a bang on the door. It was 10 past midnight. Bang, 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 bang. I run down the stairs, open the door. There's two police officers there. So my first reaction is, where's Charlie? I can't see Charlie. Are you Martin? God, they know my name. Yes, I'm Martin. I'm afraid your son Charlie has been stabbed and he's critical. Their police car is sat on the drive. We jump into it. Eloise sat behind the passenger. Tara was in the middle and I was behind the driver. We were just holding each other, saying it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. They eventually let us into the hospital. We got up there, we were greeted by another consultant called Alex and a critical care nurse who said, we need to prepare you for how Charlie's going to look. What we were greeted with will stay with me for the rest of my life. He'd been stabbed 4 times. So he was really poorly. You can't prepare yourself to see your child. My little boy, who on the 28th of October 2005, I was there for his first breath. I held him in my arms. I loved him more than words can ever say, unconditionally. And there I was, able to do nothing. I can't do anything for him. The terrible news came on the morning of Tuesday, the 25th of July, where, I say the terrible news, it was the start of the terrible news. And he took us into a room and said, there's been a lot of swelling in Charlie's brain and we need to rush him in for brain surgery. This means you have to say goodbye because he may not survive. In fact, he probably won't. So we went to see Charlie and we had like 10 seconds with him because they said, we've got to get him in. But we just kissed him and said, you're going to get through this, you're going to get through this, you're going to get through this, we love you. None of us could actually say goodbye. We didn't want to say goodbye because he was still breathing and his pupils were still reacting. So again, what should have been a 20-minute procedure, we probably sat there for 3 hours and Alex came back and he opened the door and his face looked pretty, well, you could tell it wasn't good news, put it that way. And we were told that when they operated on Charlie's brain, the brain fluid that surrounds the brain had been released so quickly that it caused irreversible brain damage. His pupils were no longer reacting and that he would never wake up. They kept his heart beating still. They did a tracing for us actually of his heartbeat and we took some photos of us just about being able to hold his hand. He had a little bird thing they'd given him and my wife had given him a cross necklace that he had around his hand and we played a bit of music in the background and we all said what we needed to say but should never have been in that position. And then just after 9 p.m. They said it's time now. And I held one hand and my wife Tara held his other hand and my daughter Eloise was to the left of me, just leaning over and cuddling him. He was covered in bandages and tubes, but she was able to cuddle him one side and Adam the other. And And that's when I made my promise, the biggest promise of my life. And I promised Charlie two things. One, that I would fight for justice and his death would not be in vain. And the second one, the biggest promise I've ever made in my life, is I would talk to other families and schools about the impact of knife crime.
Tragically, we know that there are other young people out there who are carrying knives. What would your message be to those young people?
My message to those young people that are or are thinking of carrying knives is really, really simple. And that is, they need to think twice. If you stab somebody and God forbid kill them, you can't take it back. Carrying a knife is a weapon no different than to carrying a gun if you're using it with intent to hurt or kill somebody. This is murder. This is a life sentence for you as well as the victims' families. Why would you want to do that? I don't understand. So what I would encourage anyone in a gang or anybody that's involved in that world to take a step back and have a little bit of a think about where they're going. It doesn't matter what your upbringing is. It's not an excuse. It doesn't matter where you went to school or where you live. It's not an excuse. You are in control of your own destiny as an individual, and you have a choice. Everybody has a choice. You don't have to pick that knife up, put it in your pocket and take it out of an evening. You don't have to do it. You have a choice.